Good morning and a good night of Shabbos. Today is Friday. It is the 20th day of Teves. You know, the 20th day of Teves is the yahrzeit of the Maimonides, the Rambam, and we continue now in the Tanya, chapter 12, that we started yesterday, and we explained that this is the chapter of the main character of the Tanya, which is the Beinani, the intermediate person, the one that is not a tzaddik and is not a rasha. He's right there in the middle. We explained what does it mean? That there is the external part of the person and which are the garments of the person, which are the thought, speech, and action. And there are internal parts of the person, which are the intellectual and emotional faculties. The tzaddik is in full control, not only in the external part, but also in the internal part, and the intellect, and the emotion. He doesn't even desire to do anything bad. That's a tzaddik. And we explained the different levels in tzaddik that we explained in chapter 10. The rasha is the person that does not have control, not even on his external part. The machshava, dibur, maise, the thoughts, the speech, the action, it controls him. The evil side, the animal soul controls him in thinking not good things, in doing not good things, in speaking not good things, all these garments. And obviously, we explained that there are many different levels of how much and how often and what level the evil side takes over the body of the rasha. The Beinani is right there in the middle, which means, generally speaking, that the Beinani is in full control of his external part, which are the machshava, dibur, maise, the thought, speech, and action. He's in full control. He's not going to do anything which is against the will of Hashem. Not in action, not in speech, and not even in thought. He's not going to even contemplate to do something bad. That's the Beinani. But the internal part, the emotional faculties and the intellectual faculties, there he doesn't have full control. The other side is in control, meaning that he does have their desires to do something which is not good. Now there's also many different levels of a Beinani. There is a Beinani that entire life he has to fight this Yetzer Hara. Always he has desires, but he pushes them away right away and does not even contemplate of doing it. There is a Beinani that is almost like a tzaddik. That is in entire life, he is so involved in holy things that the Yetzer Hara doesn't even come to him. And sometimes he can convince himself that he's a tzaddik. But occasionally he can have this desire, but he pushes away right away. So this is the Beinani. Now, where does the Beinani get this strength? You know, Beinani, let's say the Beinani that is fighting constantly the Yetzer Hara, and never, ever does he commit anything bad. He needs to get, anyone who fights, he needs to have time when you gather your strength, you recharge your batteries, when you have time, when you have peace, you work, you have to go on vacation sometimes to go to take a rest and to regain your strength. When does the Beinani do this? If he's constantly fighting, when does he do this? When does he gain his strength? As Alter Rebbe is going to say today, that the Beinani has also time of peace, when the Yetzer Hara is subdued, and that is during the special time of saying the Shema and praying, the prayer. There he calls it that this is the moichin, the godless. This is the greatness, the greater, superior intellect of Hashem. That, and that time we'll explain what it is. And the Beinani then gets the strength from the moichin, the godless, from the higher level of the intellect. So let's look inside the Rebbe explaining today's Tanya. So we ended up yesterday explaining that the difference, or the Beinani, that he has, he's in full control, never ever does he even contemplate of doing anything bad. And the question then is, what is the difference between him and a tzaddik? Why is he not called a tzaddik if he is in full control? That's what Alter Rebbe continues. However, the essence of being and being of the divine soul, which are its 10 faculties, they do not hold undisputed sovereignty and sway over the small city, the body. What is he saying? He's saying the essence of the godly soul does not have the full control. And he calls it, what is the essence of the godly soul here? He calls it the 10 faculties. And we learn Tanya, we know that this is not the essence of the godly soul. The 10 faculties are the emotional faculties, the intellectual faculties, but that's not the essence of the godly soul. The essence of the godly soul is pure with Hashem. So he calls it the essence only in comparison to the external aspect of the soul, which are the garments, the thought, speech, and action, compared to the thought, speech, and action, and the emotions and the intellect are considered more the essence, because they are something which more internal part of the person. So it says this part of the soul does not have full control by the Beinani constantly. And he goes on explaining, except when does the godly soul with the 10 faculties have full control? In very special occasions. In the time when we say the Shema and the Tefillah and the prayer. Only at specific times, do the faculties of the divine soul hold undisputed sovereignty over the Beinani, with the animal soul having no effect whatsoever on him. When is this time? Such as during the recital of the Shema or the Amidah. And then he says, what's so special about this time? At this time of prayer, the supernal intellect above is in a sublime state. It is a time of great illumination in the higher worlds. Likewise, below, it is in this physical world, the time of prayer is propitious for every man to ascend to a higher spiritual level. What does it mean, this moichin, the godless, of a higher, sublime, intellectual state? What does that mean? Simply put, you can take example of a child. A child has intellect, but the intellect of the child is a more smaller. What is in control, what is in full, more dominant by the child, it's more the emotions. He'll get upset about every little thing. Something doesn't go his way, he's going to get upset. When a person grows and the mind develops, then he'll have moichin the godless, a greater level of moichin, of intellect, sublime level of intellect. And the same thing is also, says the Alter Rebbe, there is during this time of the Shema and prayer. We have this special time every morning that Hashem set up. We have this time to say the Shema. During this time, above in heaven, there is moichin the gadlus. There is more greater levels of godly intellectual illuminations. And this affects also down here. And when you use this time in appropriate time, in an appropriate way, and saying the Shema with the kavanah, as we'll soon see, this gives us also the ability to reach higher levels. And this is by the Beinani. When he reaches during this time of saying the Shema with the kavanah and davening, then the Yetzer Hara is complete, subjugated, and as if he doesn't exist during that time. And that is when the time when the Beinani recharges his batteries. This is when he has this peaceful time. Continues the Alter Rebbe and says, She'az mekasher chochma bina das sheloi la'Hashem. Then during the recital of the Shema or during the prayer, the Beinani binds his Chabad, his intellectual faculties, consisting of chochma, bina, and das, to Hashem, to God. Meditating deeply on the greatness of the blessed Ein Sof, and arousing through this meditation a burning love of Hashem in his right part of his heart. Because as explained in previous chapters, meditation on God's greatness arouses the love of Him within one's heart. And we explained this is the right side of the heart versus the left side of the heart. The left side is more the passionate, physical, passionate part of the heart. So the Beinani, through meditating, he arouses the emotions, and then it leads to action as well. The dovka boy bekiyum atayra mitzvaseh me'ava. To love in turn, this love in turn leads the Beinani to desire to cleave to Hashem, to cleave to Him, by means of fulfilling the Torah and its commandments out of love. So you notice you have over here the three garments that are taking over. The meditation, the machshava, la'amik daitai, and the emotions, the heart, and the action. The emotion, so not the three garments, it's saying all the faculties, meaning the intellectual faculties, la'amik daitai, and awake the emotions, to have the proper emotions to Hashem. And that leads him to do in action the kiyum ateva mitzvaseh. And now the Alter Rebbe explains something very interesting regarding the Shema. And it says this is the whole idea of the Shema. This arousal of love for God and its accompanying resolve to adhere to the Torah and mitzvahs, and thereby to cleave to Him, is the essential subject of the Shema, which the biblical Beiraise commandment enjoins us to recite. And then ubichoisea shelefaneo lacharei Hashem min derabanan ein achona lekiyum makriya Shema kemo shenizbar b'makom acher. Likewise, the rabbinical ordained the rabbinical ordained blessing preceding and following the Shema are preparations enabling us to fulfill that which we recite in the Shema, as explained elsewhere. What is he saying over here? He's saying, you see, the Shema, what is the mitzvah of the Shema? In the Shema, we have that part, which is Shema Yisrael, knowing Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. This is the intellectual part, knowing that Hashem is one. Then we have Ve'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha. And to love Hashem, to love Hashem, which is the emotions. And then we have the doing. All the things that are commanded you that you should do. So this is the idea of the Shema. Then we have the brachas, the blessing. When we say before Shema and after Shema. What is the idea of the blessings? In generally speaking, when we're talking about the blessing of a mitzvah, every mitzvah brings down a great light from Hashem. It brings down a great light from above. And this light that will connect us to the mitzvah, through the mitzvah needs a preparation. The preparation is the blessing that there is a rabbinical ordination. They instituted the blessings. When we say the blessings, we prepare ourselves to receive that special light. But this blessing of the Shema is different than any other blessing of a mitzvah. Any mitzvah you do, when you say a blessing, for example, you put on tefillin, you say, Baruch atah Hashem, bless you Hashem, Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvaysav, you sanctified us with your commandments, and you commanded us to put on the mitzvah of tefillin. When you light the Shabbos candle, you say, Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvaysav, you sanctified us with your commandments, and you commanded us to light the candle of the Holy Shabbos, and so on and so forth. But the blessings of the Shema, when we say the Shema, you should have said the similar thing. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu, melech haolam, blessed are you Hashem, that you sanctified us with the commandments, and you commanded us to say Shema, but we don't say that. What are the blessings of the Shema? We have two blessings before, one blessing after. Two blessings before, we're talking about the greatness. First, the blessing we say about the greatness of the malachim, the angels, the srafim, that they all are nullified, they're all trying to achieve the greatness of Hashem. And the second blessing, talking about the love that Hashem loves us and all of the good things Hashem did to us. What is the connection between the blessing and the Shema? And the answer, he says, the Alter Rebbe, that these blessings are preparations for us to be able to achieve that part of the Shema, which is achieving the intellectual and the emotional and connection to Hashem. In order to achieve that connection, we need to say the blessings. The blessing of Shema, when we meditate about the greatness of what the angels do, that they are completely devoted and seeking out to Hashem. And when we meditate about the mitzvah about the fact that Hashem loves us so much, and so on, those blessings are a preparation that prepares us to really connect to Hashem and to feel, and that leads us to Shema. Later on, the sages established to say also the Psukei de Zimra, because that wasn't enough. So we say the verses before the blessings. And today, that is also not enough. We need to learn Chassidus before davening. In order to get to the mode of connecting to Hashem and appreciating what is the godliness, what does it mean to experience love and fear of Hashem, you need all these daily preparations before the davening. So this is what Alter Rebbe says, this is the blessings of the Shema, before and after. What do you need the blessing after? The blessing after is in order to implement in our life this, what we achieve during the Shema. Continues the Alter Rebbe and says. So then, what happens then in that time when the Beinoni recites the blessings of the Shema and the Tefillah and so on? Then says the Alter Rebbe, the evil and the left side is totally subjugated to the good side. At such time during the Shema or prayer, when the love of God burns in the heart of the Beinoni, says the evil in his left part of his heart, the animal soul's principal area of manifestation, is subjected to and is nullified before the goodness, meaning the love of God that spreads into the right part of his heart. Where the divine soul is manifest from the Chabad, the faculties in the brain, which are bound in meditation to the greatness of the blessed Ein Sof. That's what happens by the Beinoni during the prayer, during the davening, during saying the Shema. This is when he has time of recharging. But then what happens after davening? Everything comes back. But this state of affairs lasts only for the duration of the spiritual charge time of prayer. However, after the prayer, when the state of sublimity of the intellect of the Ein Sof, blessed be he, departs, when this departs, so when the spiritual illumination engaged by prayer ceases, the evil of the animal soul in the left part of the heart reawakens. And he, once again, feels a desire for the lust of this world and its delights, since the evil of the Beinoni animal soul remains undiminished even after prayer. So that's what the Alter Rebbe will explain further. So this is true for the Beinoni. And the truth is, what do we take from this? As we said yesterday, really, every person has the ability to achieve the level of the Beinoni. Not easy, but we can get the level of the Beinoni at least in some parts. As we said yesterday, what is a Beinoni? A Beinoni really completely to commit any type of sin is completely out of the question. But everyone has something that is totally out of the question. If you ask a person, if for you to go and murder a person, is that something you ever contemplate? I'm sure most of us will say you don't have to fight the evil inclination not to go murder people. It's totally out of the question. But the Beinoni, every mitzvah is like that. So we can achieve this step by step in one mitzvah and another mitzvah. The main thing to realize also is how we should appreciate the davening, the time of prayer, the time of the Shema, when we realize that this is the time of charging our batteries. That is why also when we daven, we do it with the preparation, with the learning Chassidus before davening, which gives us a whole different meaning of davening. So this is the end of today's shir. We should continue Mitzvah Shem Sunday morning. Have a wonderful Shabbos. Any questions?
Thank you, Rabbi. Have a